There's a lot of improvement to be made, especially when it comes to the backing of social housing. We've seen that there's been a massive decline in the financing of social housing, which means that a lot of social housing corporations had to sell off social housing, so the amount has declined, but also that the quality of social housing has gone down. It's really important that we are here together now and that we are, going for this push to make sure that social housing becomes the core again of what our housing market looks like. So what I'm currently working on in the European Parliament is the legislation on short-term holiday rentals, which is a very concrete example where the market logic has taken over the housing market and has, or the housing system actually, I don't like to call it market, and how it has actually become a very exploitative for-profit system. So that's one of the things I'm working on right now. But when you look further, I think one thing that's very important is if we can see to change the state aid rules. We're talking about state aid, and you as a social housing provider, as a city, as a country, you want to provide for people, not the most vulnerable groups, but for people just to make sure you have an affordable home. The Commission can come and say that's not allowed. And that's something that's of course very strange, and that is something we definitely need to change. Well, I'm working together with Barcelona also on the short-term holiday rental regulation. They came to me first. They told me, hey, we are actually not able to enforce the rules that we put in place to make sure that people can actually have a home rather than tourists that can visit us for one day or one night. So that is one of the things that I'm working on. And other things that we can do is, of course, especially in the European Parliament, raise awareness, continue talking, making sure it stays high on the agenda. There's a lot of things happening, there's a lot of crises we are combating, but as long as people don't have a place to live, when people can't live in dignity, the other crises will also be very hard to solve. So making sure that housing is a human right and that housing stays high on the agenda is something that is very important, and we can do that. Well, I think, first of all, it's a choice. It's a very clear choice. For example, the Recovery Fund from the European Union was allowed to make sure that you put that forward for affordable housing. But a lot of member states didn't choose to do that. It's very important that this becomes a logical choice. And secondly, what we can do is, as I said before, the state aid rules. If we can change the state aid rules, make it easier for countries to invest and that they don't have to worry that they might, are in conflict with some of the European rules, that might actually also help to make sure there's enough funding.